Hello there, it is second quarter results with Volition RX and we have quite a cast for today's interview. In a moment I'll be talking to the group CEO Cameron Reynolds. I'll also be hearing from the CFO Terig Hughes, and a little bit later on we'll be crossing over to the United States to speak to Tom Butera, who is CEO of Volition Veterinary. But first of all, Cameron, welcome. It's always busy times with Volition, but I get a real sense this quarter that there are signs you are now moving towards commercialisation. Would you say that's a fair assumption?
Yes, it's been going really well. I think the team has done an amazing job during the pandemic to really sharpen all the things we do and be ready to launch, which we have now in vet and looking to do in a wide range of other areas. Now the platform is really stable, works very well. We have very strong intellectual property. We're publishing a lot more than we ever used to in a lot of different things. And I think it's all coming together now really well.
Okay, so let's hear from Terig Hughes, Group CFO. Terig, obviously with you, we want to start with the all-important financial results and those very important numbers.
Thank you, Nick. Well, I'm pleased to say that we continue to be in a strong financial position with $27.9 million of cash in the bank at the end of the quarter. That compared with $19.4 million at the end of 2020. And just as a reminder, we raised $18.9 million back in February through a public offering. This quarter, we also received $850,000 from our at-the-market equity distribution program. It's also worth mentioning that we earned about $400,000 of grant income through continued support of the Walloon region in Belgium.
Well, that all sounds very positive, Terig. Are you continuing to record revenue at this time?
Yes, we have. We recorded $25,000 of product revenue, mainly from the beta launch of the vet product. That was steady with the first quarter and in line with our expectations given the nature of the beta launch. We do now anticipate that significant future vet revenue opportunities will come from licensing arrangements, including potential upfront payments and commercial milestones, rather than just direct sales. And then last but not least, our commercial sales team has been busy building a pipeline of opportunities, including for Nu.Q Discover, our sample processing service for pharma companies, biotechs, and academic researchers. We believe that this opportunity should also translate into some solid revenue this year.
And what about the expenses? How did you finish the quarter as far as expenses are concerned?
So, Nick, as we transition to a commercial organisation, we did see our expenses tick up a little bit. For the quarter, we had a net loss of $5.6 million compared to $5 million for the same quarter last year. Our burn rate is now expected to be about $2 million per month on average through the next quarter. And that leaves us with a strong balance sheet, a strong cash position, and a significant runway to achieve our many milestones.
Cameron and I were discussing the fact that Volition is very much now looking towards commercialisation, and I gather you've been playing your part in recruiting and hiring some new people on the financial front to support that position.
That's right, Nick. So we've added a couple of fantastic new people, a business controller in Belgium and a financial planning and analysis manager for the group. And with that, we hope to strengthen our financial controls and to provide support for the operations and commercial team and to provide us with the bandwidth that we need for the future growth that we're anticipating.
Okay, Terig, good to talk to you. Let's go back now to Cameron, who's been waiting patiently there. Cameron, talk to me a bit about intellectual property and also publications from Volition.
Well, Nick, we've been really happy with our intellectual property portfolio. It's growing all the time. The team is a real hive of innovation in a very wide range of areas. And there's actually a new wave happening in the last year relating to NETosis. And I think it puts us in a really good position to protect the innovation we have so that we can launch a wide range of products. We've been very aggressively publishing. Just look at this quarter alone. There were 2 abstracts presented by our collaborators at ISTH. In the extremely exciting data on the NETosis, and also 3 other papers with collaborators and in a very wide range of areas. And I guess most notably, we've also got a vet paper coming up very soon, and also another one just about to be submitted as well.
Okay, interesting. Let's drill down a little further and talk about the 4 key areas or pillars, as you call them, of the Volition business. And let's start with Nu-Q nets.
NETosis nets are proving to be extremely important in conditions as varied as sepsis, COVID, influenza, even things like cancer and autoimmune diseases. So if you add all those up, it's an incredibly broad area. Our assays, if you look at all the data that's now being published or in abstracts, and we're doing a huge amount of new work, works extremely well in monitoring NETosis, also disease severity, progression, really exciting. And this could actually be one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing in a very wide-ranging portfolio. We've now had a great key opinion leader roundtable with some of the brightest minds in this field. We're now doing that, attempting to do that regularly, as well as all of the publication work we've done. I think the only thing, like with everything else we've been doing during the pandemic, it's sometimes difficult to get a pivotal trial organized because obviously hospitals are extremely busy and with the pandemic. So that's going to be has been our focus and will be in this second half of the year, is transforming all that great data, all that excitement, all that promise on our platform into actual products.
You've got some new data, Cameron. What's that telling us at this stage?
Yeah, Nick, we really have. So at the ISTH conference, 2 abstracts were presented by fantastic institutions, 2 of the best hospitals in the United Kingdom. And they basically tested how our assays, whether we could predict on admission disease severity, which it could, and also 28-day mortality, which again it could. So potentially fantastically helpful clinically. And again, very simple what our platform is in all its respects. So now we're working very hard to see how we can transform these very exciting data points and potential products into products through a trial.
Don't go away, Cameron. We'll come back to you in just a few minutes. Well, hi, Tom. Good to see and speak to you again. You joined Volition in May. Just update us on how things have been going from your end.
Well, I'll tell you, Nick, it's been great. It's been a great 3 months that I've been here. I want to first of all compliment the tremendous Volition veterinary team that I've been working with. Dr. Heather Wilson-Robles, who leads our R&D team at Texas A&M Veterinary School, has just been fantastic. And also, too, as you know, we are introducing the Nu-Q vet cancer screening test to the market. And this is really going to meet an unmet need in the market. Currently, my veterinary colleagues do not have something in terms of a screening test where they can get some preliminary information as to whether the dogs that they're seeing are subject to cancer.
I'm also interested to know where you are with your first product, the Nu-Q cancer screening test.
Well, Nick, as you know, it is our first product, and we're positioning that product to really be used for animals that are over 7 years of age as part of a wellness test on an annual basis. In addition to that, it's a product that can be used for predisposed animals to cancer as early as 4 years of age. We do not currently have in the veterinary market a cancer screening tool that can be utilized to help us diagnose early. And if in fact we can diagnose early, then the hope is we can treat early. And quite frankly, I've spoken to so many veterinary colleagues about this product, and the overwhelming excitement has been quite humbling.
And I gather you've just published a clinical paper.
Dr. Robles was the main author on the paper where nucleosomes were identified in hemangiosarcoma in dogs with a very high degree of detection, close to 82%, and with 97% specificity. That came out around June 29th. That paper is in publication right now and is being massively read by my colleagues. But Nick, we also have a second paper on lymphoma that just was recently approved and is going to publication in the very near future. And with the same similar type of results as the hemangiosarcoma paper, very high sensitivity with reference to detection of lymphoma with also very high specificity.
And you've got some more research coming up, I understand.
Well, we have some really exciting things going on right now. The clinical team just completed a 600 cohort dog group with reference to utilizing our nucleosome platform to see if we could identify cancer in 7 common cancers that dogs are frequently afflicted with. And that information is currently in the process of going for peer review at a very large veterinary journal. And we hope that that paper will be out before the end of the year.
It's great that you're having all this published, and that's building the profile of Volition in the oncology community. But tell me a little bit more about the actual product pipeline.
The product pipeline, as you know, we're finding more and more use for the Nu.Q Vet cancer screening test, and the excitement around that initial test is quite profound. But in addition to that, we're also finding that we have additional platforms that we are going to be rolling out with reference to treatment monitoring as well as remission monitoring.
Lots of P's we've been hearing about, publications, the pipeline. Let's add another one. What promotional activities have you been involved with?
Well, to tell you, Nick, I just attended the VMX conference in Orlando, Florida. We had a booth there, and in addition to having a booth, Dr. Sue Ettinger, aka Dr. Sue Cancer Vet, who is widely known both domestically and internationally for her very direct information and succinct information to the GP doctors about what's new in cancer in 2021. Sue's a great advocate for us and presented at the conference at VMX. And actually, I attended that conference early in the morning at 6:30. And to just give you a little ad-lib, there were hundreds of veterinarians there. It was just phenomenal. In addition to that, we're also going to the Western Veterinary Conference. We're presenting at the Western Veterinary Conference. So is Dr. Ettinger as well. We'll also then be heading out to the vet show in New York in November. And then also we'll also be attending the London Vet Show in November as well.
Okay, Tom, let's wrap up this section by talking about where you are commercially with Nu.Q Vet.
So we are in active discussions with some of the largest veterinary companies in the world, and they are very interested in our platform. So those are ongoing negotiations and ongoing discussions that we're having with them right now. Our laser focus is on continuing to develop our pipeline, continuing to developing the research that we're working on, and continue to expanding the platform that we have. We don't have the intention of building a market sales force or a sales team. Quite frankly, that's why we're obviously having active negotiations with 4 of the largest companies in the world on the veterinary side to access their resources with reference to marketing with our veterinary colleagues and with the veterinary community as a whole. Our anticipation is that we intend to have and plan to have a signed agreement in 2021 with one of these large distributors and licensing agreements.
Well, Cameron, back to you. Great to hear on the veterinary front there from Tom Butera, but let's finish off with you with some news updates on the human side of things about the Nu.Q platform.
Yes, Nick, we've really strengthened the bench, which is helping us to really deliver in a very wide range of areas. So the final one really is in the human cancer space. I think you'd have to say the bright spot has been in Asia, where the National Taiwan University, I'm very happy to announce today, has completed its collection of the lung cancer study, which was over 1,000 samples, so including almost all of them cancers, so a very large study. We're doing the analysis now, and as our new protocol, we'll be submitting that data to a conference, which will be sometime next year. And the colorectal has also finished collection, so extremely well done with the team in Taiwan. And we'll be analysing that as soon as they've finished collecting the clinical data and the data logs. So again, that'll be sometime next year. Also here in Asia, we've made progress towards the first licensing deal in human cancers in China. So we could have updates on that this year as well if it does get concluded. So that's also exciting. In the US, it's been mixed. It's been tough to collect, very understandable during a pandemic. But again, I'm happy to say EDRN, the very large colorectal study, has begun collections, limited collections, but aims to be back on track with full collections in September. We have 2 studies going, one monitoring and one on non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. On the great blood cancer work we've done from the vet side, we're using in the human cancers. That has also now been affected by the pandemic for exactly the same reasons. Collection and protocols, it's just very tough to get things done at the moment. It appears to be going in the right direction. So we're hoping to start collection later this year and have the first data ready for the FDA by the end of next year.
And when we spoke last time, Cameron, you talked about Nu.Q Discover. How are things progressing on that front?
Yes, Nick, as I discussed last call, we've been quite happy with the interest shown by a range of pharma, biotech companies and research companies. That's progressed now. So we've sent out a few quotes, some of them actually quite substantial, and we're waiting to see how that revenue develops. But we are expecting revenue from that this year, growing through next year. And as I said before, if they become a companion diagnostic in some of the trials, it could be very productive on the revenue front for us as well in the coming years.
Okay, well, great to hear all the news that is occurring throughout Volition, including the veterinary side of things. Cameron, let's look ahead now, months, maybe even into next year. What can people expect to see from Volition?
Well, I'll start with where we're closest to a product, because we have launched in UQ Vet. We aim to get a deal done this year, and backed up behind it, there's a range of other potential products and areas we can be doing in the vet space. The team's done an amazing job. UQ Nets, it's been a bit of both. Extremely exciting data. The assays have been working incredibly well. What we're trying to do now is find a product trial in these difficult times. So I can hopefully update you on that through the year, both in Europe and the US. And I think we'll make some good progress too in the other areas, particularly in the human cancers, potentially a licensing deal, also a lot more data in lung and colorectal and the blood cancers. And we're hopeful as the pandemic lifts that we can really deliver in all areas and keep things on track in all our various areas. So it should be a really good year for us.
Well, let's hope it is a good year for Volition, and in fact everybody. Great to hear from Tom and Terig, and also great to hear from you, Cameron, CEO of Volition RX. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, everyone.